Hey and welcome. I'm Hammeh, and some good news. Blizzard have announced that enforcement of reporting and changes in the various reporting systems are coming. Good news for anyone feeling that Overwatch has been perhaps any tougher than usual in terms of competitive match quality recently with regards to trolls and leavers and similar such. Here's a quick roundup of the news, my thoughts on where and how it will help, but then what also we need to do to help make it a success, then a quick update on plans for this channel and a new video upload schedule from me. Timecodes in the description below if you want to skip. First, what's happening on the reporting system? Well, community manager Lilira took to the forums to explain Blizzard's core values and share some news on features being changed. Immediately effective from now, increased penalties are being issued to players in response to verified reports of bad behaviour. Now, there have been some people on subreddits and on Twitter commenting that they have had their accounts suspended. So there is something happening as of when this post went out. This could be from anything from abusive chat, harassment, in-game spam, match inactivity, being intentionally AFK, and griefing. With punishments varying from being silent, suspended, or even banned from the game, we're going to have to see how these filter through because it's not going to happen overnight, and more on that in a little bit. However, this is apparently only a first step, and over the next few months, there are actually going to be feature changes based on feedback. Here are the three main ones. Scaling competitive season bans, which is something pretty major. A notification system that will actually notify you if someone you've reported has actually had action taken against them. So that's going to be important psychologically, if nothing else. More on that in a little bit. And last but not least, Blizzard are going to implement some functionality that lets them more aggressively penalise players who attempt to abuse in-game reporting. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. The final bit of news was that work on Xbox One and PlayStation reporting is continuing, and there is a bit of emphasis there in terms of the Blizzard post that it's frustrating not to have the functionality, they realise that, and with many elements apparently being under internal testing right now, hopefully there's going to be something pretty soon for you guys on console. You have not been forgotten about. Okay, that's the roundup of the news. So what do these things actually mean? Well, scaling competitive season bans I think is pretty important. It also means that people have a chance to reform their behaviour, but if they're multiply reported, and this is verified and seen, then they're going to get stacking penalties. Now, this is good. I mean, CSGO at the moment has a system where when you've been infracted, you have a 30-minute prevention. Then after you infract again, you do something wrong, it goes up to 2 hours, 24 hours, 7 days. Now, any one of the levels used to get reset after 7 days, but if you kept doing things that caused you to get reported or infractions put on your account, the more that you got punished for things that you'd definitely done wrong, the longer you'd have to go clean without doing anything wrong before your infraction level would reset. So if you did something wrong after being on a 24-hour suspension, then you could go to a 7-day suspension pretty quickly. If you didn't go for a long period of time, the next time you did something wrong, you'd be suspended for another 7 days. It doesn't just go back to 30 minutes. So that kind of scaling system, but one that gives you an opportunity to play your way out of it, is something that I think is pretty important. You need the opportunity to be able to reform, but also you need the opportunity to have these sanctions actually matter. So I'm interested to see how Blizzard implement that. If it's something like the CSGO system, obviously with the enforcement and making sure that the action, the punishments taken are fair by customer service and similar, then I think that's a really, really good thing for the game. Okay, next up, the notification system that will alert you when a player you've reported has action taken against them. Now, this is a psychological point more than anything else. It helps you feel that something is being done, but only when something is actually done. So it's a little bit of a two-edged sword depending on how you, the reporter, approach it. Whenever this comes into working, remember that this is not something that you're going to see triggered all the time for every single player that you report. There has to be a bit of a sliding scale. You've got to have a first offence, a second offence, a third offence, and as Blizzard emphasised in the post, it's got to be for verified reports of bad behaviour. Now, Blizzard are never going to share with us exactly what a customer service rep or a game master in this case can see when they're looking into a report that we fulfil of bad behaviour. So don't assume that Blizzard can see everything and do everything in a match. A lot of that will be a massive technological undertaking in itself. So if you report someone and you don't immediately get a notification saying that action has been taken, then I would not see this as a sign that the system isn't working. Rather, it will need to build up data over time, and they'll also need to build up history against accounts. So this is something that will start working and then get better the longer it runs for. So don't judge it immediately whenever it does launch by the fact that you report someone and then suddenly don't see anything happening. The other good thing about this, I think, is that it reminds people in a way passively that if you're reporting someone and nothing is being done, and you report people 50 times a day and you see nothing being done over a period of weeks or months, maybe you're not reporting people for the right reasons. You know, attacking Torbs aren't always throwing, even if they're not ideal or sometimes what you want to work with. A defensive Torb in this meta certainly isn't. People are getting around to the idea of Torbrisa, having seen it in esports in various maps on defensive points, and a good Hanzo or Widow, as much as that kind of triggers people and gets inside your head sometimes when people insta-lock them, can be a massive benefit on attack, on 2CP or escort. And hey, if they contest and switch when needed and they're getting the entry kills, they're certainly an asset. They're not a throw either. So in these situations, remember, of course, you've got to work with people a bit, and then if they don't change, if they're really not cooperating, or if the pick's not working, maybe that's something that you talk with them about later in the match. However, rather than abusing them and reporting them straight away. This comes into the third point that Blizzard mentioned. They want to be able to more aggressively penalise players who attempt to abuse the in-game reporting tool. So they will be improving the reporting tool and taking more action against people that get reported, that they can verify have done something bad, but if you try and abuse this reporting system, then you're going to have action taken against you as well. Now, I think that this is nothing that a normal, average, everyday player who uses the report tool every once in a while is really going to be worried about in any way. This is more towards people who spam reports, maybe, in an attempt to get people muted or chat muted primarily. I think people have said in the past that there has been some kind of link between the amount of reports that you get for like abusive chat and then getting a chat mute for a while. There are systems in other Blizzard games like Heroes of the Storm where if people get a certain amount of reports in some kind of sense or another, the system puts a chat mute on them for a particular period of time. Good news here, but remember, several of these things are going to be taking place over the coming months, so it's not any kind of immediate fix. You're not going to be able to jump into competitive and see a magically better place. Although there is action being taken against accounts right now, it's going to take time to filter through. So I guess the one big thing I'm saying is please don't expect a magic change, and maybe right now, particularly with Doomfist arriving very, very soon, there's going to be a change in meta. People are going to be trying to insta-lock Doomfist and play him a lot in competitive, say that they're Doomfist mains, and there is going to be that period when a new hero releases where everyone says, oh, don't use Doomfist, don't use Orisa for a while, because people aren't quite sure how they work and they get a little risk averse. We need to be a bit mentally prepared as a community that there's not going to be an immediate change that's really, really feelable. The very fact that Blizzard have come out and talked about this is going to make people feel a bit better, so maybe that and Doomfist change, maybe a bit of a change in the meta is going to be enough to sort of mentally, psychologically lift people a bit from the kind of funk that we've been in. Well, I know that I've been in a funk for a little bit with competitive anyway. Overwatch has been out for over a year. If you have a little bit of a fatigue feeling with competitive, and certainly that's grown a bit for people in the last couple of months, the little road bumps you come across in game maybe feel a bit bigger to you than maybe they actually are. Maybe you think that every game's got to throw her in rather than, you know, half of them on statistical average actually having that kind of thing. I still maintain my feeling that at the moment, Overwatch and laddering, just the way that the SR system works, feels like risk management in a way. I don't feel rewarded for playing competitive more, and maybe that should be the case. I should play quality games rather than more games, but trying to improve in competitive and playing in a competitive environment, trying to focus on a quality amount of smaller games, queuing up in pairs or whatever. Then when you have these kind of setbacks with throwers, with levers, with people who are trolling, if you're trying to put more effort into playing less games and have a real quality game, then that kind of obstacle just feels a lot worse. To illustrate what I mean in a positive sense, here's a little bit of footage of audio from a game where my whole team was tilting after going down 0-2, and some footage of what a rare, borderline salty Hammeh sounds like. This Reinhardt does two things. He walks towards you with a shield, and then he charges.
Is he one hit?
Yeah, not really punishing him.
So when the Reinhardt charges, if we group, we just kill him, and then we go. Now, please know that I'm not calling my teammates out here in any way, shape or form, as I was one of them when we were all in this mental space. There are a lot of people feeling very frustrated, and this is kind of my sort of sample. When I listened to it back, I thought this is what Season 5 has felt like for me. I'm not going to say for everyone, but for me, certainly. Now, we actually turned this around and won 3-2 after bashing our heads together a little bit and a little bit of shot calling. But the thing is that these kinds of games are mentally tiring and not in a good way. It's our general mindsets and attitudes, and I'm going to say that mine needs a tweak as well, alongside anything happening with the game reporting systems that will make us feel better about this, if indeed you're one of the people who are feeling like this right now. Okay, finally, a quick update on the channel and why my videos have been a little ad hoc days and timing wise the last few weeks. Now, I've been working on video scripts, but I've increasingly wanted to take more time putting them together for you. I really love these videos where I can take longer creation time, where I can shoot with some of you guys. I shouted out on Twitter and opened a custom game that was public that you guys could come and join for Planet Overwatch. And I like making more edited, researched and scripted videos for you, always trying to keep moving things forward and to keep improving, and I hope that you've seen that in some of the videos I've tried recently. Now, Planet Overwatch last week, the link is in the description below. It was a bit different for me than the usual lore content here. It was an example of something I had huge fun creating and will make more of, as you guys really enjoyed it too, judging by the comments. Now, that kind of video just can't be made on a daily video release, and particularly that kind of process that YouTube, the platform, seems to favour at the moment. There is definitely a trend that if people are trying to, and there's nothing wrong with this, grow their channels, get regular channel exposure of their videos, and if you're attempting to make YouTube your only income, it also has a correlation to the dirty D word, which is dollars. Now, I don't think dollars is a dirty word. I don't think trying to make YouTube your main income is a dirty word whatsoever, but I know that some people kind of perceive it that way a little bit, but more on that in a separate video. I've decided I don't want to upload daily if I think there's nothing that I genuinely want to talk about. So I'm going to discipline myself into finally stepping away from the pressure that perception of releasing daily creates. Now, YouTube is not my total full-time living. I could not afford it to be so. I don't live like Scrooge McDuck, but I've always worked before YouTube became a big thing for me over the last year, and I continue to do freelance work and work for myself alongside YouTube as well. So I might need to find a bit more freelance work to balance out releasing a few less videos, but so be it, because I want to make these better quality for you. The new plan, in short, I'm going to release 3 videos a week. I'm going to really try and keep myself to 3 videos a week, or a video every 2 days, Monday, Wednesday and Friday-ish, and these are going to be longer and edited, with perhaps another bonus other game or non-lore video on the weekend as well. So 3 to 4 videos a week, or certainly something every couple of days. I will absolutely continue to share news and opinions on topics I find interesting around Overwatch, and things that I think you will enjoy too. I love Overwatch, its lore and story, Blizzard games, their lore and stories, and gaming stories in general. They've always been the main focus I've wanted this channel to be about, alongside the voice lines and interesting things around the game. I'm looking forward to focusing on that and sharing more content with you on those topics and beyond. I'll have a few videos for you over the next few days, as well as Overwatch lore, and we will get back into a regular upload schedule again from next week, so you know what days roughly vids are releasing and when on average you should stop back by this channel. Thanks very much for your patience and support. In the meantime, do, cliche I know, but it really does help, hit the subscription bell on my channel page and select whether you'd like mobile or email notifications. That way you'll never miss a video. If you've ever fancied supporting this channel a bit more than a view or a subscribe, and those are the best kinds of support in themselves, please do check out my Patreon. From $1, euro, pound, or singular unit of a currency of your choice a month, you can really help me grow what I do currently too, perhaps go full time. Check that out at patreon.com/Hammeh. I'll be sharing a video on this that's really important to me in the next few days, so please do keep an eye out for that, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch it in advance. YouTube has been great to me, as if you all for supporting. It's been an amazing year of Overwatch for the channel, and I'm really looking forward to what we will have in store this year, and hopefully far beyond. Do check out all of my usual vids. Check out Planet Overwatch, all my usual Overwatch lore, interactions and voice lines, as well as analysis of the latest comic Masquerade in these lists here that you can actually click on mobile and tablet as well as on desktop. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.